Number 55, Give My Regards to Broadway, utilizes notes that are on the bottom string, the 6th string E, on the A string, and on the D string. And as you're looking through, you see numbers floating around on the tab on just the bottom 3 notes. So I'm going to play this whole piece using my thumb, Pugar. Again, you can use your pick if you'd like to use pick, or you can have your piccato going too. Notice it starts on a G. We have a combination of quarter notes and half notes. So on this G, there's a tie. And whenever you have a smiley face, or if there's notes up here, there's like a rainbow, that means you tie those notes together and make them into one long note. So you're going to let it ring for 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8 counts total. Here, if you would actually do the tab correctly here, you would actually create a tie between the two number 3s, because it looks like almost you have to pluck this note again, but you don't have to. And then we can also write it down here for this last C. All right, so we're going to play it 2 different ways. We're going to play it with just the melody, as well as I'm going to go through and explain the chords, and we'll play the chords too. These chords are getting quite challenging for us, and there's a lot of movement going through here. So we'll talk about the chords in just a few minutes. Let's play the song together. It is 4/4 time, so there's 4 beats in a measure, and we're going to go just as a medium, kind of a medium slow speed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just that fast. I'm going to place my 3 fingers here so they're planted. I'm going to get my hands ready to go. Ready? 1, 2, ready, play. 2, 3, 4, hold it out, ready, go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there you go. So there's the melody. You can choose to try to play it faster if you'd like for a challenge, or if you need to go slower because there's a lot of moving, go ahead and take it slowly at first so your brain gets used to playing it, and then we go from there. Now let's go ahead and work on the chords. Now there is one new chord in this mix, and it's an F minor chord. We haven't looked at this chord yet, and in a future lesson we will actually look at different chords that include more than 2 strings with your first finger, and it's called a bar chord. We did a very short bar chord with the F short chord. Remember that before, where your finger 1 is over top of the first 2 strings, 2 and 3 is here. But now we're going to actually cover the first 3 strings with first finger, and then we're going to grab these with a couple other fingers. Now, this is a little bit more tricky chord. I'm not going to get into how it's built right now, but check out the future lesson which talks about bar chords. You're going to figure this out. I wrote here 3 different types of F minor chords. So you can do one that's actually kind of a short F minor chord. It doesn't include this extra note right here, but it's a way to do it. So cover the first 3 strings, grab the 3rd finger, and put it right here on the D string on the 3rd fret. So it's kind of like playing an F chord. I'm going to slide my first finger on the first 2 strings. See that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the middle finger up, the 2nd finger, and I'm just going to shift my first finger up. So it's covering 3 strings now. Keep this 3rd finger where it was, and there it is. Now if you get a little bit of like that, what you want to do is get that finger, your first finger, right up next to this fret so the string makes good contact with the fret and you get a good vibration. If your finger is farther away, it happens a lot. Also, instead of laying your finger flat where there's a lot of flesh, like that, I like to lay it on the side of my finger on the bone, and that actually makes more contact with the string hitting the fret, and then you just add your 3rd finger. That might be the way you want to do it. You can also choose the second version of the F minor chord. You're going to lay your first finger over the top 3 strings, just like you did on the first one. But now, instead of having finger 3 over here, you're going to slide finger 3 to your 5th string and tuck your pinky right there where finger 3 was. And there you go. So it's 1, 3, and 4. And that one you're going to use 5 strings. Yep, and really squeeze that first finger so you don't get that thunky sound. Pretty hard to do. Now the next one is a full bar chord, and that's where you lay your first finger all the way across all 6 strings. Because if you remember, this first fret on the low E string is also an F. So that gives you a good F in your bass note when you're playing the F minor chord. You're going to keep 3 and 4 where they were, so you're skipping fret number 2 in all 3 of these examples. Don't put your 3 right here or 3 and 4 right here in the 2nd fret. Skip 2nd fret and put it on the 3rd and 4th fret. This one's going to be sounding like this. It's more full. And you notice that, and if you watch guitar players, to get a really good solid crunch down with your finger, a lot of times we'll use our 2nd finger, lay it on top of that 1st finger, and use it to press it down. However, there is a trick to this, and one thing I want you to think about. You know that it's going to be covering all 6 strings, but in reality, you only have to concentrate on these 3 up here and this one right here. These 2 strings right here, strings 4 and 5, are being taken care of with fingers 3 and 4 here on the 3rd fret. So just kind of really concentrate your pressure on your first finger on these 3 and the bottom one. So that way you don't have to worry about pressing so hard on all 6. And that might also help. And notice if you look closely at my first finger, it's laying on the side of the finger because it's going to use my bone, and I have it slightly curved. I don't try to go straight because then it's hard to reach that 3 and 4. So I'm going to kind of slightly curve it, lay it on the side, and my hand is kind of coming at an angle more than this. See how I pull my elbow in? And that really helps as well. There you go. So there's the bar chord of F minor. Now let's analyze these chords, how they go together, and how we're going to change before we play. We have our C chord, regular C chord. Now if you take a look, finger 3 is on that 5th string, 3rd fret. Over here, you can use this kind of medium size F minor or a bar chord, full bar chord. Notice that finger 3 is still on that 3rd fret of the 5th string. So finger 3 is going to be your anchor finger. Don't lift that one up. Notice where my pinky is when I'm playing my C chord. Take a look. My pinky is right here. It just wants to fall naturally on that 3rd string from the bottom, on that D string on that 3rd fret. Then lift the middle finger up, and then you can put first finger down as a full bar chord, or if you just want to do it this way, that's fine too. Okay, so C chord, leave the 3rd finger positioned, leave it anchored, lift this finger up, drop the pinky. You can do it this way, or you can drop it all on there. Now you're going to go to the G chord. Now the G chord and the F minor really have nothing in common as far as shape. So your whole arm and hand is going to kind of flip over. The only thing that is going to stay though is your 3rd finger. Notice I was here. My 3rd finger's on my 5th string. Keep it anchored. Slide it up to the 2nd fret. Pivot. Drop your pinky. Drop your first finger, and there is that G7 chord right here. Okay, so here's my 3rd finger. I'm going to slide it up to that 2nd fret right here, and then I'm going to put my first and pinky right there. There's my G7. First finger now is my anchor finger. I'm going to leave that one down, and then I'm going to drop my D minor chord. See that? Now, keep your first finger anchored again, right there, back to G7. Now, when you remember playing G7 and C, they have the same shape, so I'm just going to keep that same shape, make it a little bit smaller, condense it. There's my C chord. I'm going to spread my fingers out again, go to G7, back to C, put them a little bit more tiny. Now, keep my first finger on that first fret, second string, because guess what? There it is. And now I have my A minor. Also, if you remember going from C to A minor, your second finger is on the second fret, fourth string, just like right here in the A minor, and then just lift that third finger up and go right here on the third string, second fret. There's your A minor. Okay? Now you're going to pivot around to the G. You actually have to lift your fingers up, get the G, and I go 2-3 pinky because that's so much easier to do than I would go 1-2 pinky or whatever. So I go from A minor. I just keep that second finger, slide it down one string, drop the 3, drop the pinky, and I got my G chord. I'm going to quickly change over to my D7 chord, and then back to my G chord. Okay, now I'm just going to slide my second finger down to that fourth string, add the third finger, add the first finger, I'm back to A minor. Take my first finger, slide it to that first string, got my G7, and then kind of shorten the gap here because it's the same shape into C chord. And now this is pretty tricky. I think this is probably one of the most challenging chord progressions yet. But we're almost at the end of the book, so I mean, it's about time we get some really good challenges here. Okay, now we have 4 beats here, 4 beats per measure. As you notice, it's 4/4 time. So you can play just one strum for the first measure if you'd like. Play it like a whole note. Strum 2, 3, 4, strum 2, 3, 4, and that gives you 3 beats after you strum on beat 1 to change to the F minor. You're going to play F minor for 4 beats, G7 for 4, D minor for 4, G7 for 4, C for 4. Now, if you're playing the melody, the G continues to ring out, but you do a transitional chord here to G7 here, so 4 beats for that. Back to C, A minor on 4 beats. Now, 2 chords in one measure. That means you're going to play G chord for 2 beats, D7 chord for 2 beats, back to G chord for 4 beats, A minor for 4, G7 for 4, and end on the C chord, and you can play that 8 counts right here, or 8 beats, because it covers 2 measures. All right, so let's go through. We're going to go through really quite slow. And again, if it's easier for you just to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see, what do I do here? Okay, I slide that there, and I go there. Okay, there's my F minor. You know what I mean? So whatever kind of F minor chord you choose is okay. You can do the, what I call short F minor, or since you're on your C chord, I'm going to leave my third finger planted, drop my pinky, and I can do it this way. Let's call it the medium size F minor. Or drop your first finger on them all, and you get a more richer, deeper sound because it includes that low F in there. Okay, whatever works the best for you. Ready? Let's go slowly. 1, 2, C chord, go. C, 2, 3, 4. Get ready for that F minor chord. G7. Now keep your first finger planted, D minor. G7, first finger stays. Now make your hand a little smaller, C chord. Spread the hand a little bit, G7. Now I'm back to my C chord. Keep 1 and 2 planted, move the third finger. G chord, D7, G, that's a toughie, A minor, G7, and now a little bit closer together on the C. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if that was too fast, fine. You can go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you don't even have to strum it a second time. Give you a chance to get an F minor. Okay, now the G7. And the D minor and G7. See, you don't even have to hold it and let it ring out for all 4 counts. You can, as soon as you play that, let's say F minor chord, you can already move and then already go, and even if you get this kind of funky sounds in there, fine, because your brain and hand and fingers are getting used to the movement. Okay? Then later on, maybe you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, and so on and so on. And then when you get better, you can even challenge yourself with a fancy strumming. And so on and so on. Whatever you want to do. But the important thing is that you go at your speed that's comfortable for you. All right? Get that good. Your brain is learning new things. It's creating new synapses in your brain, new connections. And as you play, the more comfortable you get, your brain is going, oh yeah, I know this. I'm good. And then you can go and then you can speed it up. Cool? So work on this one, and I'll see you in the next one.